Hi there, I'm Linda, and this is Huttons Valley Permaculture. I thought a great way to start the new year would be to have a look around the veggie garden, but with a difference. Today, we're going to be taking a look at all the flowers that are blooming and providing such beauty for the garden. We'll start today with these amazing flowers here. And this is an echinacea plant, also known as a coneflower. Now, I believe they're native to North America, but can be grown here. This one has been in the ground for 2 years. Last year it only reached sort of half the size of this. We had fairly mild winters, which I think helped it re-establish itself really well. And it's got so many flower heads coming on it. It really does look amazing. When the flower first comes out, its petals are kind of wrapped up like that, and it doesn't quite reveal its pink petals until later on. Now, while I'm mostly going to be using these as a cut flower, you can use the whole plant for medicinal purposes. You can use the roots, the leaves, and the flower head steeped in hot water and used as a tea. Now, it's said to help with the immune system for colds and different conditions, but I have read that some people need to exercise caution and it's not advisable for everyone. So do your homework before enjoying echinacea, but I think everybody can enjoy the flowers. Something that will be blooming soon, although I've got none out at the moment, are my sunflowers. Last year in the garden I had some beauties and I wasn't going to miss out on having those sunflowers in this garden, so I've planted out quite a few. I did grow them in pots inside to start them, just to make sure I knew where they were and what was going to come up. And I think there's a few different varieties, but I've kind of lost track of what they are at the moment. And I've dotted them throughout the garden just so we can enjoy that beautiful flower wherever you are in the garden. Now, just here and here are two flowers that I never have trouble getting going in my garden. In fact, they're sort of hard to erase once they do get started. The first one is the beautiful nasturtium. Now, this one's an orange colour, but there's lots of different colours. There's sort of variegated colours and bright yellows. And in my climate, they really do love it. Usually in winter, the frosts will knock them back and get it all under control. But that didn't happen this year. And I've got nasturtium seedlings popping up everywhere. And they're hard to keep a track of and keep under control, but when these gorgeous flowers come out, it really does add to the garden. Now, the other plant is over here and is a California poppy. This little one is the orange yellow variety and quite pretty. I often have just a straight orange variety around the place, and I don't mind it. They're kind of fairly short-lived, but they come up with thousands of seeds that sort of drop, and you can see underneath here that there's heaps of little seedlings come up already, and that's just under the plant. They usually do spread far and wide, and you get these plants happening everywhere. But as with the little nasturtium seedlings, you can just pull out any of the little plants that you don't want, or you could dig those up and put them somewhere where you need that orangey burst of colour. And while the poppies add a burst of colour and bring bees into the garden, as to the nasturtiums, with the nasturtiums you can actually add the leaves and the flower petals into salads, and you can use the seeds, a bit like capers, to give a peppery flavour to different dishes. A second poppy that I have in the garden is this beautiful red poppy, also known as a Flanders poppy. Now, this plant was a volunteer and the only volunteer in the garden this year. I will be saving some seeds. Look at these little seed heads, they're so beautiful. But I'll certainly be saving seeds so that we can grow a lot more in the garden and make sure the volunteers keep coming in the future. Just near the red poppy is the hollyhocks. This is a maroon colour. I did have a pinky colour one earlier in the season, but that's kind of finished for the moment. But I think it's regrouping and will be back. And for the while we can enjoy the hollyhock, this purpley colour hollyhock. It is attracting all these little beetles, which I don't know if they're so great in the garden, But I'd prefer they like something like these flowers rather than any of the veg plants that I've got around. So it might be good just for keeping those happy, as well as adding that touch of beauty. Now just here is a beautiful zinnia. This is an orange one. I've got a lovely pink one just over the back there. I have started these plants inside and transplanted them out, although I have read that they actually prefer to be direct sowed. I have had volunteers happen in the garden, and I've been moving those ones around as well. Now the zinnias are great. They can be used as cut flowers, and you do get more flower heads if you deadhead them. I'll probably be just cutting them and using them inside or gifting them, so that would be my way of deadheading them. This is one of my volunteers here. Now I have read that once they get to about 20 centimetres, if you kind of give them a bit of a trim right in the middle, it encourages more branches and also longer stems on the flowers. So it's sort of even better for cut flower arrangements to have those beautiful long stems. I haven't done anything to these zinnias, and they seem to be growing beautifully, but in future I might trial doing that stem cutting bit. Now just here is the beautiful chamomile flower. It is a volunteer plant which looks very happy growing here amongst my onion plants. The flowers are used in tea. Now I have used just fresh flowers, grabbed a whole bunch of them and put them in hot water to steep, and it's been beautiful. Or you can take all these and dehydrate them and use them throughout the year for beautiful chamomile tea. Now the tea is said to have medicinal properties, which include sort of an immune support, and it can help sleep and have a relaxing effect. I haven't used it for that, but just enjoy the taste of the tea, especially if you add in a little bit of honey. Now you do have to watch it with this plant. It does spread its seeds around, and you do also get lots of volunteers. But who doesn't love a volunteer that looks like this? Another of the flowering plants in the garden that likes to spread its seeds around and create all these volunteers is the borage plant. Borage has these beautiful purple flowers, which again the bees love. It's all about the bees and bringing the bees into the garden really, as well as adding beauty to the garden. Now, isn't that beautiful? Now you can eat the borage flowers, and I have seen them dried with sort of a sugar syrup and sort of crystallized and used in decorations for cakes and the like. And that brings us to another purple flower, one of the veggies that flowers and seeds in the garden. Here's a little bee enjoying this one right now. And that is flowers from the chicory family that produce these amazing purple, sort of lilac coloured flowers. Out of all the flowers we've seen so far, this is the one with the most bees on it. There's a real attraction for them. Now once they're finished flowering and they go to seed, they produce a lot of seeds, and I've been enjoying lots of curly leaf endive and the radicchio, which are the two plants that I planted in the chicory family, although there's a huge range of different plants in the chicory family, and I've just got two of them, the radicchio and the curly leaf endive. This is one of the curly leaf endives that has grown just by itself, and not far away is this green radicchio, although I have had quite red ones forming in the garden as well. Now just through here I've got my climbing pumpkin plants, and they're certainly starting to produce their beautiful yellow flowers. We've got the male flower here, and we have one of our first pumpkins actually forming here from what was a female flower. So they're doing really well. And just on the other side of my pumpkin trellis, I've got two huge zucchini plants. These are going really great and starting to get masses of the big yellow flowers as well. Very similar flowers to the pumpkin actually. This one is a female flower. You can tell by the middle there, and also the fact that it's got the zucchini starting to grow on the other side. This one here, just starting to close up now, is one of the male flowers. But as you've seen, there's plenty of bees in the garden to get round and pollinate all of these beautiful flowers. And this zucchini is one of the stripy light green and darker green varieties, which will be a nice addition to the garden. I haven't had that before. And also something to keep in mind, you can actually eat the flowers. I have done flower fritters before when the plant's really small like that. I've fritted up, you know, the zucchini and also the flower, and it's actually delicious with a tempura style batter. There's lots of lettuce flowering at the moment, and they have a tiny little delicate flower, and that plant produces heaps of seeds, as does all the plants in the Umbellifer family. Right here we've got an example of 4 plants in the Umbellifer family. This one is a celery that is flowering and going to seed. Just beyond that, that little plant over there is actually a parsley plant. The white snowball looking flowers are from the carrots. And these magnificent yellow flowers here are from the parsnip plant. Again, an amazing buzz coming from these plants. Another family of veg that produces beautiful flowers is the allium family. Here I've got some leeks going to flower, and they'll soon be seeding. These ones are just small plants, but in another area I've got some larger, more mature flower heads. The leek flowers start off all enclosed before they're slowly released to reveal the beautiful flower head that often is white or lavender. I've got some red spring onion here, which mostly has flowered and gone to seed. I've already picked off seed heads and am drying them out and getting all the seeds out for saving, and just left a few here that are still forming their seeds. Another veggie plant in the Umbellifer family is fennel. And you just have to look at the flowers to tell kind of what family these different plants are in. And likewise with the nightshade family, here I've got a tomato plant. Lots of flowers coming on the tomatoes at the moment. And plenty of flowers too on my potato plants. I've got 2 different varieties of potatoes. The cream variety potato has a white flower, while my red variety potato has this beautiful purple flower. Eggplants are nightshades as well, but I've got no flowers coming on those plants, being a bit too young at this stage. But this little chili plant is further along and it's got plenty of flowers coming, as does some of my pepper plants as well. So all the nightshade family have similar sorts of flowers coming on them. They just kind of give the different fruit. A delicate little flower I've talked about recently is the comfrey flower. I have been working to cut back and use as mulch some of that comfrey, and the first lot I've started on has already kicked back into life and ready to produce the next round of flowers. Another delicate flower in the veggie garden is one that we see a lot, and that is from the Brassica family. Now this one's a radish plant, and these delicate little yellow flowers are from a bok choy that I missed harvesting. And this plant was a cabbage that I let go to flower. You can see the similar sorts of flowers on this plant as the last 2. I've got some calendula in various spots just to bring in the bees, and they're easy growing and will spread easily, and again easy to control as well. I've got that growing next to one of my Tuscan kales that's coming along, and in my Swiss chard bed. And now to the legume family. I've also recently shown my trellis with the Purple King beans growing up it. I don't actually know how I'm going to get in here and harvest all these beans, but it's putting on a magnificent show of these lovely little purple flowers. And I've also got some green beans. These are called Lazy Housewife. Not a great name, but they're a very nice bean and produce these lovely little white flowers. And I've got a third bean just down over here. This one here is the scarlet runner bean with these beautiful orangey red flowers. Scarlet runner beans are a great bean to have in the garden. Here it's produced its first pod. Now when the pods are probably a little smaller than that, you can eat them as a green bean, or you can wait till the beans are large and shell them and eat them fresh, or you can dry the bean and after long soaking you can enjoy that as well. Now as for the plants themselves, they can be perennial. They can last for 2 to 5 years in the right conditions, and I think in a cold climate you'd have to cut the plant back to near ground level, cover it up with lots of organic material like a sugarcane mulch or something similar, just so that it can help survive cold temperatures and the frost. Some flowers we cut to take inside. Most flowers bring in pollinators to the gardens. Some can be used as medicinals, others are left to produce seed for future gardens, and some are necessary just to produce the vegetables that we love to harvest. Whatever the reason the flowers are here, they do bring joy and they draw us into our gardens. They're a really important part of the whole garden ecosystem. I hope you've enjoyed a trip around my garden today to enjoy all these beautiful colourful blooms. Thanks so much for watching, and bye for now.